Utah Jazz annihilate, crush, eviscerate, blow out the Portland Trailblazers by 33. We're talking about it next on POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, we're by 42, not 43, 42. 141 to 99. First 40-point win in Will Hardy's career as a head coach. Monster night for the Jazz, and it started from the get out. Like Blazers, I think, had two leads, probably 1-0 and 3-2 or 5-7 or 7-5 or something like that. But it couldn't matter. It was never more than one. But they just came out. We opened the broadcast, and one of the key notes we had was that the Jazz allow the most transition in the league, and Portland allows the second most. So who's going to take advantage of the other team's weaknesses? And wow. Did Utah ever take advantage of Portland's weaknesses?
Well, they were just scoring everywhere on the floor, especially in the paint. The Jazz was just getting anything they wanted out there on the floor, and sometimes you can get what you need and get what you want, and you're not making shots. The Jazz were getting what they needed, and they were making shots, and they really separated themselves very early in that first quarter. 33 points in the first quarter was awfully good.
It's a good point. They were 12 of 23 in the first quarter, 6 of 11 from three. At halftime, they were 26 of 49, so well over 50%, and 50% from three. The number that jumps out to me, though, first quarter of the night, the Jazz were in transition, according to Cleaning the Glass, which is an estimation, not an exact, 32% of their possessions. 32. The Blazers were in transition against the Jazz, who allow the most transition of anyone in the league, 8%. That's the game right there.
Yeah, that's the game. The fact that, and add some more numbers to that, the number of points in the paint, 76, and only took 32 3-point shots in order to get it done tonight.
So what did you see early in this game from the starting five that allowed them to get in that kind of transition?
You know what's fun? We get a chance, especially on the road, we get a chance to watch practice. We get the chance to listen and hear what the Jazz are concerned with, and the things that they like to do to counter. And they were very concerned with the pressure defense of the Portland Trailblazers, in particular, about 90 feet away from the basket in the backcourt. And so they set up situations where they were going to set screens on whoever's guarding Keyonte or whoever's guarding Colin Sexton so they can push the basketball up the floor and get into something and play a lot faster. You like to see a game plan work. And when it worked in that first quarter, the Portland Trailblazers they had no answer. And then that was it, for the most part.
This could be because Portland's not good.
Yeah.
But the Jazz outlet passes you mentioned in there, the push ahead pass was such a difference maker tonight. Was Portland allowing that when, obviously you got to get the deep stop, right? So that's the first thing. But was Portland allowing that in a way that other teams don't allow it?
I'd have to say yes. I won't say a lot. They made it easier for the Jazz to do just that. If you can push the basketball ahead, even if you're just getting it over the half-court line, you can get into your offense a lot quicker. But the Jazz are getting a lot deeper than that and breaking the defense down. Keyonte scoring 3-point shots. And that starting five was just separated himself very, very early.
At one point, I believe in the third quarter, I checked, said on the broadcast, we had taken 50% of our shots at the rim. It's a crazy number.
In today's game, that shouldn't happen.
The league average is 33%, and it has been that way for 5 straight years. 50% of your shots at the rim. Honestly, the only way you get 50% of your shots at the rim, the other team ain't trying anymore.
Yeah.
This is...
So that's 39 fast break points. 39 fast break points, 76 points in the paint. That's embarrassing. And like I said during the broadcast, the clock just was not running fast enough for Chauncey Billups with the coach.
I don't want to take anything away from the Jazz. They got a 40-point win. They played great. They made their shots. They did everything right. And maybe I'm overstating this. But one thing, if you're going to be in a rebuild like this, like Portland and Utah are, you really, it's imperative that your front office brings in high-quality people because it's hard. It's hard to be 5-17. It's hard to be 8-15. And maybe, we're going to have 40-point blowout probably on the wrong side of one at some point where we get worn out too.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say that like our guys are immune from it, but I would hope that we can avoid the lack of effort that we saw from some of their guys, at least almost every night. And, that would be, if I'm Chauncey, what's dangerous here is you got some guys that just completely rolled tonight.
Yeah.
And, we'll probably have a night or two like that because it's hard to lose a lot. But they're not losing a lot right now. That's the crazy thing. They're 5-6 in their last 11 games.
And you're absolutely right about playing hard. I mean, if the effort and the playing hard, I'm not saying run out and dive on the floor and all that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about being aggressive and following the game plan, not giving up easy buckets. The Jazz, I think, shot over 50% every quarter.
Yeah.
Or every quarter, yes. They shot over 50% every quarter. That's like,
it's a little bit like we go back to the beginning of the year and you wonder why did the Jazz trade sign Drew Eubanks, Svi Mykhailiuk, and Patty Mills? Because they knew they were getting in humans. Mm-hmm. We saw it in Svi tonight, played great. And Drew Eubanks is battling and it's kind of proving to be a rotation player again. And I can't tell you the amount of things Patty Mills does just to be a good teammate and help the team. It's crazy. Yeah. So I think there's something that let's talk about some of our guys though and give them credit. Let's get back to that. And let's talk about Svi. 5 of 7, 8 rebounds tonight, 4 assists. He scores 13 points, played 21 minutes in an unexpected start as it was a very late scratch for Lowry Market. In fact, we kind of JM had written the open and we had Lowry in it and we were certainly expecting to see Lowry tonight. And Colin said they didn't even know till they ran out on the floor that Lowry wasn't going. Svi really stepped in beautifully tonight.
He did. And I know we were talking about before the ball game that with him getting the start, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, Will wants to make sure he keeps his substitution pattern intact because he pulls a guy that does not play, does not get any minutes, put him in as a starter, knows that he's not going to lose a lot because he can handle the basketball, he can shoot, and he's going to, give you some pretty valuable minutes as a starter. But for the most part, he keeps his rotation in place.
The other one, Tim LeCope thought that was the best night he's seen at Keyonte.
Good point. Yeah, very, very good point. I mean, and you look at the way he shot the basketball, but that's not the deciding factor, I think. I think his overall game was probably, and Tim's probably right, his overall game was a lot better than what we've seen. And not so much that he shot the basketball very well. We know he can shoot and he can get on a streak, but there's other parts of the game.
Headliner off the bench tonight's Johnny Juzang's 22 points. He hits 6 threes, and you said tonight you just love his stroke.
I love his stroke. I think his stroke is he's on balance all the time. His follow-through is absolutely great. But you're looking at a 25-foot shot that's soft. And soft meaning when he hits the rim, it's not going to go to half court or back to the free throw line. It's going to be a reboundable basketball. And I just love his stroke. I think it's one of the best.
That's a great story. I mean, this is a guy who was a mid-range shooter, changed his game. Very George Niang-esque, actually, if you kind of want to go back to that. Mm-hmm. Kind of how he had to change his game from a mid-range post scorer into a different style of player and has now done that after 2 years in the G League, got himself a full contract and keeps shooting it like this. He's going to be a NBA player for many years to come. That's pretty. That's an exciting thing for he and his family. Let's just put it that way. That's pretty.
The first thing is get some minutes on this team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Really just a super performance.
How about the whole team?
Yeah, I want to point out just a few other things. Portland shoots 7 of 25 in the first quarter, which is Jazz keeping the half court really stymieing them. They shoot 17 of 49 in the first half. Give the Jazz some credit there. 5 of 23 from 3. The other one that's worth noting is we haven't played many bad teams. Like, we've played the toughest schedule of any team in the NBA. We have the easiest schedule the rest of the way. We have not played many bad teams. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we're not playing. San Antonio's good, right? The Thunder, obviously fabulous. We've played pretty good teams here, and the Eastern Conference teams we've played, we played New York, and that's one of the better Eastern Conference teams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we start kind of playing some of these other teams, whether or not a lot of the areas where we've been deficient look a lot better than they have been.
It's a good point.
All right. You going across the board?
I think we should go across the board. Look at this. We don't have one minus on here at all.
You win by 40. Everyone gets everybody.
Everybody.
How about Patty Mills? Yes.
This is
Patty Mills gets
Patty Mills gets. He's a good teammate.
Yeah.
How about that?
Everyone gets one.
It was Oprah Winfrey's. How does she?
You get it. You get reliability plus. I get a reliability plus. We all get reliability pluses.
All right.
Have a good night. We'll talk to you in Sacramento.